Mr. Speaker, I rise this afternoon for the purpose of supporting this motion where the member for Castries East, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance presented the estimates of revenue and expenditure for 2025-2026, which stands at $2,057,519,900. Mr. Speaker, before I proceed into this debate, I ask for your permission, your leave, to mention a few things. There is a popular phrase that always guides me, and I recall in 1988, when I was principal of the Foaso Primary School, I recalled I had on my desk that there were three types of people: those who wondered what happened, those who watched what happened, and those who made it happen. Mr. Speaker, as I sit here today, I want to be among those who made it happen. And this is what this estimate speaks to. And there is also a very popular quote that gives me some inspiration. And it is, "I shall pass this way but once. Any good that I can do or any kindness I can show to any human being, let me do it now. Let me not defer nor neglect it, for I shall not pass this way again." Etienne D. Gallet. And I say that in the context of, with a question mark, 2 billion? I don't think we will pass this way again. We may get more or less. That is once we reach on this 2 billion. Mr. Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to thank my family, my husband, Mr. Victor Poyotte, my son, Fidelis Alexander, who are by me on a daily basis to give me the support and the courage. I speak today for the first time in the House without my beloved brother sitting in England following this House, Mr. Speaker. And you would not know how this gentleman has been following everything that happens in this House. And may his soul rest in peace. But the battle continues. I want to thank the people in the Babono constituency. And I like to touch them very closely by highlighting the communities that I traverse on a daily basis: Debara, Bourgis, Laguerre, Montciton, Plateau, Paybush, Lacroix, Gara, Babolo Central, Timon, Foaso, Chassin, Talvan, Kakojiwa, Hill 20, Kabish, Balata, Timon, and Union Terrace. I want to thank all of you for your confidence in me. I want to thank the staff of the public service, the Permanent Secretary, Janet Bernard, and her team, the staff of the Department of Labor and Gender Affairs, the Permanent Secretary, Sheila Imbert, and her team, the staff of Home Affairs that I worked with for about 2.5 years, the Permanent Secretary, Elizabeth Bailey, and her team, and the staff of National Security and Acting Permanent Secretary, Cotter, and her team, the staff of the Constituency Council, and in the 5 constituency offices in Babono. I need to thank all of you for your support. It was a lot. It has been a lot. But we have achieved a great deal. For the last financial year, I wish to say thanks to the Prime Minister and my cabinet colleagues who had the foresight in the person of the Prime Minister to assign me now the Ministry of the Public Service, Labor and Gender Affairs. Mr. Speaker, I rise in support of this motion and the amount of money quoted in this motion. I describe this budget as a rock of a budget. It is solid. On Monday morning, the Employee Assistance Program, unknown to me, distributed a rock for a cause. And to my amazement, these rocks were distributed to cabinet members, and I dipped and I picked up one for the Prime Minister. And by Tuesday afternoon, the Prime Minister presented his $2 billion budget. I'm very pleased with these figures as the people of St. Lucia stand to benefit from his pronouncement. Mr. Speaker, I have to speak to the figures presented by the Prime Minister. It has been a challenge. It's a task to read 1,064 pages, but the time will not allow me to do so, to dissect and go through every single item on the page. Therefore, I will focus on the areas which falls directly under my watch and the areas the constituency of Babono stands to benefit from these estimates. Mr. Speaker, I turn my attention to the Ministry of the Public Service, Labor and Gender Affairs. Head 22, Department of the Public Service, Roman numerals 9, total recurrent expenditure speaks to $64,750,500, with the total capital of $5,251,500 and a total for the agency which amounts to $70,002,000. When we look at executive direction and administration, the mission of the public service is one where this department is responsible for leading the charge and managing human resources and ICT to deliver exceptional public service to our customers. Our strategic priorities speaks to the department, which is there to provide strategic direction, leadership in policy planning, management, administrative services, and human resource management to support national development goals. Public Service Management Bill and the strategic plan is one major area that this department has undertaken, and it is almost completed. What was achieved in the last financial year? As we look at the budget 24-25, the public sector modernization, this unit has so far completed 82% of this project, whereby more persons are accessing the online services, especially on weekends. Many people are using weekends now to do their businesses online, and therefore that actually creates a lot of pressure on the limited staff, because when they come to work on Monday, there is a backlog of applications that they have to deal with. Then we have, Mr. Speaker, DigiGov. Implementation of phases 6 and 7 services. Police has 3 services: civil status, passport, systems integration for online application of work permit services, citizenship services, and full implementation of the National Authentic Framework. Then we look at government island-wide network with an allocation of $2,290,500. Many communities around the island have benefited from GINet. The Caribbean Digital Transformation Project, an allocation of $8,700,000, where they work with the ICT Evolution Project with an additional $3,332,700. This has been transforming the technological landscape in St. Lucia. Under policy planning and administrative services in the public service, rental and hire estimated at $27,654,809, revised downwards to $23,757,650. This is an indication of prudent management, although we are still burdened with the additional Orange Grove monster on the government's purse, which was designed and orchestrated by the last administration. Mr. Speaker, if you look at 1207 on page 142, you will also notice a sharp increase in projected allocation for the 25 to 26 financial year, because we were also caught up with the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court projected increase in rent, which is about to start. I have heard the Prime Minister say that he does not play by doctors. He doesn't play by nurses. And I don't think he plays by lawyers. He also knows why, I suppose. And when he heard Supreme Court, he had very little choice. We had to move with the Supreme Court, which will add additional costs to the government purse for rent. And this is what is reflected here in the increase in rent in that estimate. Mr. Speaker, we have to retrofit the office of the Orange Grove Plaza to get additional funds to retrofit the building for government to use the space. And we are starting with $2.5 million for the financial year 2025 to 2026. On page 143, item 0371, the Graham Lucia Administrative Building continues to have leaks, and the government has to carry out major works on the roof. To improve, we are working on improving security at the Graham Lucia Administrative Building and the other government ministries. And if you know, Mr. Speaker, among the buildings at the waterfront, it's only the Graham Lucia building that is owned by the government. And therefore, we have to take care and maintain our own property. Mr. Speaker, we have shared services for South Division, where government is committed to provide more services to residents in the South, of the island. And therefore, an allocation of $467,500 is placed in the budget to address that. So, Mr. Speaker, when you have persons on the other side talking from off the head and their gray matter, we let the facts and the figures speak for themselves and let it be the truth. Any increase in salaries is as a result of the government honoring its obligation to pay civil servants, and that has been done for a second and third time in a row. The last government negotiated with public servants and left the debt for this government to pay. The Minister of Finance paid the bill. Now we have to pay the last triennium. And then the next one is starting on the 1st of April, a few days from now. All this, the Minister of Finance has to find the resources to honor. Mr. Speaker, while we speak on negotiation, this is a very long and drawn-out process, which is very time-consuming. My ministry had the responsibility to ensure that everything was put in place so that the negotiations process goes on smoothly. This means my staff had to leave their regular duties to participate in the negotiations, and both of my permanent secretaries were involved. The secretariat for the team had to be involved, and they actually formed the staff to give support to the negotiating team, and this went on for over a year. I want to take this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to thank the government negotiating team and the trade unions, especially the Trade Union Federation, for their patience and cooperation in facilitating this process. At least the Prime Minister can sleep now. Are you sleeping, PM? Although the purse is empty. Back pay is paid and salaries have increased. All what has been done, there are some who are still not happy. Mr. Speaker, the Department of Labor, Head 49, speaks to advance gender equality, promote fair labor practices, improve workplace safety, and foster employment in alignment with national, regional, and international framework through effective policies and enforcement of labor laws and regulations. We have to promote industrial peace in the country because labor and industrial relations services are necessary to promote and sustain a healthy and stable industrial relations climate in St. Lucia, which is conducive for national economic growth, employee and employers development, as well as investment in opportunities. During this financial year, which we are about ending, there were some major changes in the ministry where the Prime Minister removed the Department of Home Affairs from Public Service, Labor and Gender Affairs in his reorganization of portfolios. He established the Ministry of Home Affairs and the Ministry of National Security. Then the Public Service, Labor and Gender Affairs were further reorganized to form the Department of Labor and Gender Affairs under a new permanent secretary, and Public Service Department remained with its original permanent secretaries. This happened as part of the Prime Minister's commitment to strengthening the Department of Labor and place greater emphasis on the working population of St. Lucia. Mr. Speaker, line 1101, page 644, shows an increase in salaries for the addition of a new permanent secretary to the department. Rental and hire increased significantly because gender affairs rental budget was added to the budget of labor, as well as the establishment of office space for the Labor Tribunal and the Minimum Wage Commission. So the figures move from $191,353 to $782,342. So that is what would justify that change in figure. There was a significant increase in grants as a result of the inclusion of the gender budget in the Department of Labor. To a large extent, the Department of Gender Affairs has relied heavily on grants to carry out activities in the department. In addition, the issue of gender is a cross-cutting issue in all ministries, especially in the area of gender mainstreaming. The Department of Gender Affairs has established gender focal points in most of the ministries to help in the implementation of activities in different ministries where the issue of gender is incorporated in the programs. For the ensuing financial year, in the Department of Labor and Gender Affairs, the estimates made provision for some improvements. For example, line 1201, page 656, there is an increase in the traveling allocation of $50,000 to facilitate St. Lucia's attendance in the tripartite arrangement as mandated by the ILO, International Labour Organization, to attend its conference in Geneva. The government must facilitate its attendance, and this could only be properly constituted if it is represented by the trade unions, the employers, and the government. The St. Lucia has not participated in this high-level discussion for a few years now. As a government which supports the workers in this country, we cannot afford to be absent from such an important assembly. We are not like some persons who claim to be of a workers' party, and they do not care about them. This government will pay them. This government has paid out a bonus increase to the workers, establish a minimum wage, pay pensioners and increase their pension, and give them additional pay. Pay Liat workers and Majestic workers who are deprived of their severance pay, and the list goes on. This is a government that cares about workers and will put every effort and energy in supporting the Department of Labor so that we continue to have industrial peace and to promote economic growth in the country. Mr. Speaker, line 1209, page 657, sees an increase in consultancy of an additional $300,000 to review the Labor Act. The current Labor Act has many areas of deficiencies, and this has to be corrected. The unions and the employers have asked the government to review the Act and bring the legislation to a level that is acceptable, fair, and in keeping with ILO standards. Again, Mr. Speaker, this government has no choice but to satisfy the demands of these entities to ensure that we maintain industrial peace in the country. We cannot do like some other persons on the opposite side who continue to call on citizens to get angry and cause disruption in the country. We have to fight hard to maintain peace and tranquility in Sweet Helen. Mr. Speaker, I now turn to the constituency of Babonneau. This $2 billion budget is one where the constituents in Babonneau would like to know what is in there for them. In the previous estimates of revenue and expenditure, I used to go shopping with a basket. Well, this time around, Mr. Speaker, I have arrived with my trolley. Before I put items in the trolley, I want to briefly highlight what has happened so far in the Babonneau constituency as it relates to the expenditure. Mr. Speaker, Babonneau constituency is huge as it expands over a large geographical area. With the limited resources at my disposal, it was necessary that I put structures in place to address the needs of the constituents. Mr. Speaker, as I reference the estimates, all allow me to highlight some of what I have done for the people in Babonneau as I distributed the resources that I had the privilege to dispense and allocate for the best use by the residents in Babonneau as I put them first. Head number 41, agriculture. I provided fuel vouchers for the farmers during the dry season, and they're already waiting for the next round. We are entering the dry season. And approximately 70 farmers benefited from that. We repaired roads for the farmers to access their farms. The ministry did culverts. It's still ongoing. And they got hundreds of bags of fertilizer and over 351,000-gallon water tanks. The government had to cancel the lease for the agro-processing plant so that the farmers, we can reopen this plant so that the farmers can sell their produce. We have done work on the farm roads, drainage. The Maki farmers cleaned up a water reservoir for water in the Lager area. And I see on the head 41, capital expenditure to the tune of $6,780,000. So we are waiting for our fair share in that budget line. Minister of Agriculture, we will not escape because Babonneau is Mr. Speaker, the breadbasket of St. Lucia. And we look forward to giving the farmers all the support because a few weeks ago, there were no cucumbers on the shelves in the supermarket. And when I went to Maki, Mr. Speaker, the farmers told me they were the ones that put the cucumbers that you saw on the shelf. We have to work with irrigation to help them. We have to work with the drainage, and we have to improve the roads because some farmers had already abandoned their farm because the roads were not good. And I had to step in, and we have done some work. We have done the drainage, and we have done some resurfacing, and now they can access their farm. So we look forward to your support, Minister of Agriculture. And I want to thank you so far. You have been delivering to the farmers. On head 48, Mr. Speaker, housing and local government, many families in the Salvan community could not pay for the land that they lived on for a very long time. And this government decided to sell the land to those persons who had resided on the land at the rate of $2.50 per square foot. And many families will benefit from that. The Talvan Housing Project The Minister of Housing will make some disclosures later that we are going to get some locust housing there, but we also have the National Housing Corporation working on the projects where they have sold over 80 lots and persons have purchased all these lots for them to build their homes. Right now we have the infrastructure work going on there now. I also saw on the head 48 that when we look at cemeteries, there is some mention that we will get government to purchase some additional land next to the existing cemetery at Foaso so that we can expand that cemetery. Right now, we cannot bury people there because it's already full. And we want to upgrade, Minister of Local Government and Housing, we want to upgrade Babolo Central to a small town or village. You will decide, but we have the facilities and we are putting everything in place. Babono is expanding rapidly with many housing projects. Some are privately owned. So with a capital expenditure of $12,889,100, we hope to get our share of housing and local government there. On the head 52, we have the Lage Smart School. Minister of Education. It has been completed and we await for its official ceremony of commissioning from the funding agency. So that is still on the card. It's a big thing for the people at Lage. It's the most modern primary school. The government did not stop the project. We continued and we ensured that education gets its priority. I conduct termly visits to the schools and provide support to these schools through cash contributions and other trophies and other areas of support. There is a need for an early childhood center in the Gara area, Mr. Speaker. Repairs for the Balata and Debara Primary School. These two schools really need some attention. And I see a capital expenditure of $16,640,800. We are hoping to get some from that, Minister. Education is a priority everywhere we go. Head 53, Mr. Speaker, when we speak of health, and as we speak now, Mr. Speaker, I'm proud to report that we are in the process of starting and upgrading the 3 health facilities in Babono, Babono Central, Foaso, and Lage. And the contract should start as early as in the next 2 weeks or so. So I'm very pleased about that. And we are going to establish an outdoor gym in Babono. There is a capital expenditure on the health of $18,030,500. So I'm hoping that Babono gets its fair share of the health contribution, knowing that Babono is a very rapidly expanding community. There are several housing projects that are going on in Babono now, and the population definitely is growing rapidly. On head 54, all the playing facilities in the Babono constituency need to be upgraded. To date, work has started on the Babono Central and Resina in Gara fields. We are actually fencing that field, and it is next to the secondary school. The children are very excited, looking forward to that field so that they can release some of their excess energy. We did the resurfacing of that field, and we'll try and see if we can also put lights. That is in the center of Babono, and it's going to bring some life into the community. I actually built toilet facilities for Debara playing field. There was no toilet facilities there. The Foaso playing field, an additional toilet facility for spectators, because the one that was there was for the players. where it's located, spectators could not access the toilet facilities. And we are starting one for Balata. The Balata playing field is a very popular field. It has lights, but no toilet facilities. So we are constructing a toilet facility. And we have international players who actually go on that Balata field. Upgrading the toilet facilities, the sporting facilities in Foaso, Babono Central, Lage, Debara, and Balata. All the fields are going to get some attention. And right now we have started, as I said, with Resina and Babono Central. We also want to give the Kakojiwa field, they want some space there to engage in their small goals and their activities. And I see a capital expenditure not so big, Minister of Youth Development and Sports, which is $2.3 million. Small as it is, we will try to see what we can get from here. And Babono has been doing well in sports. In spite of what some people say, they won the T20 Prime Minister's cricket competition, so they can play. And I have been supporting them. I did not just celebrate with them because they won. I have been having the parliamentary rep cricket competition. This year will be third in a row. And I give support to Kimani Melius. I give support to the football team in Gara and Foaso. So I have been there giving them the support. So when they do emerge, it's not by a stroke of luck. They are actually engaged in practicing and working hard to achieve. And the semi-professional league, some people I celebrated because they won the first match of the second tier of the semi-professional football league. Babono team was the one that won the first match. So we are engaged in our sporting event. Under head 42, we want to upgrade Babono to a town, and therefore we have to bring financial services in Babono. And we will want the support of the Ministry of Commerce to establish cooperatives, credit union, and other financial institutions. We also want our Babono Development Foundation and small businesses in Babono. So I see a capital of $6,446,500. We will try and bring our trolley on that side to see what we can get for the Babono people there. I saw Minister smiling, so it seems she'll give some consideration to Babono. Then we have community tourism and tourist attraction site. I noticed there is a budget capital expenditure of $7,796,000. Minister of Tourism, I'm eyeing you on that one. We have to get a little something. The trolley will pass by you. Let's see what you will put in that trolley. And Babono has a lot of potential. We said we want to describe Babono as an agro-tourism community. Our base is agriculture, and we support tourism. Head 22, Mr. Speaker, we have about 9 sites in Babono that has the GI net. And in the Bogis area, because Bogis is in a very deep area, it's very difficult to get signals there. And they had to establish about 4 points of the GI net in order to supply Bogis area with internet. And we are going to establish an ICT center in Babono Central. All the equipment is there. We are just waiting to do the refurbishment of the building. Under head item 49, women and girls are organizing themselves to secure support for themselves and their families, develop skills for young women and single mothers. That is starting in the Babono area. Under head 37, the Babono police station got 1 new transport. However, when one considers the topography of Babono, the police will require additional vehicles. There is need for renovation and a facelift for the Babono police station, which will be in the center of the little town that we're coming up with. So that is an area we will want Minister of National Security to pay some attention to. and they definitely need some more vehicles to patrol and move around in that area. And I'm making an appeal on their behalf. The youth economy, head 56, the demand for support from the youth economy is way above the available resources. Therefore, more resources will have to be allocated to this initiative. It is oversubscribed, so that young people can establish their small businesses. On Home Affairs, head 36, we need to get support for construction of pathways for persons with disabilities. And there is a capital expenditure of $10,788,600. And we would hope that the Ministry of Home Affairs will allocate some funds as we move around to allow and create facilities for persons with disabilities to be able to maneuver with greater flexibility. Mr. Speaker, in the Babono community, persons are saying, what have you done? And it is important to share with you, Mr. Speaker, that we have constructed 7 bus shelters in Babono. And the way the network is, people are by the road, rain, sun, and they do not have a place to shelter to wait for the transport. And therefore, we did one in Lage, Savannah Ho, Bogies, Gara, Lakwa, Kabish, and Pebush. And we had some already in Plateau, Lage, Bogies, Debara, Gara, Fongaso, and the Babono Central. We also erected directional signs because many people get lost when they come to Babono. So we have the community signs and the direction so you can follow to make your way around in Babono. I mentioned in the case of sports, we have built the toilets, we are refurbishing the playing field, and we are hoping that the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports will come to our rescue so that we can continue to promote sports among our young people in Babono. As you know, everybody look forward to the short-term employment program, and Babono usually employ about 600 persons in that. We have had burial of 15 medical, vouchers, hampers, 400, and people are actually taking advantage of that. We have a new initiative in Babono, Mr. Speaker, called the Community Transformation Project. And it's a project that goes into certain pockets of the community. And we do a complete transformation. We start with a major cleanup, then beautification, housing repair, put internet, create employment for everybody in that area, ensure that every child goes to school, the child gets support to go to school, and make these communities independent and sustainable. These community transformation projects have started in Lage, Pebush, Gara, Fongaso, and now we are moving into Kabish and Talvan. Babono, we have had Babono Days, which was brought back after 16 years. We have had it for 3 consecutive years. The council introduced the bamboo bursting competition. That is a highlight. I noticed some other communities are trying it. That's very good. But that's a new initiative in Babono. And jazz, we had jazz about 2 years ago. And this year, jazz, rainforest jazz is coming back to Babono. Mr. Speaker, as we speak, we have a few what we call the mega projects that are coming. And they are mega because we say they must touch at least 1 million going up. If it's below that, it's not considered a mega project. We may call it a signature project. So the signature projects, we have a signature project in Foaso, where we have the Sporting Village, Balata, the bus stop and market, Timon, the Human Resource Center, Bogies, we have the Kenneth
Member for
David
Babonneau,
John.
you have 15 minutes left.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In Bogies, we have the Kenneth David John Avenue and mural. In Gara, the daycare facility and the playing field. In Kako, the playing field. In Plateau, we have the tourist viewing site. In Lage, we have the Lage Gap development and the Lage playing field. In Babonneau is Babonneau Town Center, and in Debara, we have a water purification project that was completed. That one is a mega project because it cost $1.3 million, and the people in Debara are drinking fresh and potable water. The good thing about the Debara project is that they are not Wasco water. That means when Wasco has a problem with water, the Debara people will continue to have water because their source is straight from the Lasosier mountain. So they have their purification plant and the water is purified and it actually supplies that community. And then the mega projects, we are looking at the housing project, which the Minister of Housing will speak to. We have the Babonneau Multipurpose and Administrative Center coming. We have the Lage playing field. It will be completely resurfaced because that playing field was like a swamp. It looks like a field, but inside of it had some deep holes. And therefore, we have to do the complete resurfacing of that field. And we are trying our best to cover the stands and put a canteen. We have already erected a bus shelter. So it will serve about 4 different communities. And the Debara playing field, the Minister of Youth and Sports will speak to that, where we are going to install lights and stands and extend the toilet facility that we have started and give some expansion. The field is a little too narrow. We are going to continue to expand it. Then we have the major roadworks, and Minister of Infrastructure will speak to the roadworks in Babonneau. And the #1 road will be the Asuba Road. The Asuba Road is the road that will connect Gara to Bogies. The people in Gara, when it's a certain time, they are trapped. It's like a dead end. They will not get transport to leave here by a certain time. But if we connect the Gara-Bogies Road, it will be a circular traffic road. And it will make life easier for the people in Gara to move around. And it will do the same for the people in Bogies. So, Minister of Infrastructure, I think you have everything ready for us to go so that we get the Asuba Road going. And then the Health and Wellness Center, all 3 of them are getting attention. And up to last night, we were in discussion with the Ministry of Health, and they will be in Foaso next week, so they are ready to turn the sword. So hats off to Ministry of Health. And then Minister of Infrastructure, we are speaking and getting ready to start the bus terminal at Shock. That is where the majority of the people in Babonneau assemble at night. It's a very dark and dangerous area, and the Minister of Infrastructure is already working on that. We are going to mobilize the community and ensure that the people have a better environment to it. All the hotel workers, young women, and all of them are assembled there. That is a necessary project. And then the agro-processing plant, the Taiwanese are working with us to reactivate that unit for the people to use. Mr. Speaker, with this huge budget, I trust that all of us will get our share and we will play our part in implementing the programs to make St. Lucia a much better place for all of us to live, as this government is making every effort to put the people first. We are there to serve you. I remain confident that in the coming months, there will be a buzz in Barbados, as has started this week, and the entire country, where we will do what is necessary to improve the quality of life for our people. Mr. Speaker, I therefore give my full support to the estimates of revenue and expenditure 2025 to 2026 as presented by the member for Castries East and Prime Minister and Minister of Finance. With this, Mr. Speaker, I will pull with my trolley and I will go home to Barbados to share the goodies with the people. I thank you.